Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to go through another survey conversion process example. In a previous episode we talked about survey layers and how surveyors come with all of the different layers set to whatever surveyor uses, and we need to translate those over into our layers so that they work with our sheet system. And so today is just a second example of going through a survey conversion so that you can have a better understanding of that process. Let's learn. Welcome back, guys. In this episode we're going to do a quick survey convert for a simple survey. And you can see that this survey is already geolocated. You can tell that it kind of fits in with where stuff is developed and undeveloped. We don't need to look at that right now, so I'm going to go up here and turn that map off to make it a little bit easier. And most surveyors these days do not put their title block in model space. It's kind of an antiquated way to do things. So we're going to move this off to the side. Move this 10,000 units just to get it out of there. And then this is the basic information that we're going to convert. So first we'll want to lower our layers with the command civlay and then F for full. And then we'll use the command ZX to isolate things. And first I'll get the property lines. And I'll grab all of those and move them to V A property line. All the existing information is going to be on V, and the proposed is on C. So when you're converting a survey, you're pretty much just going to only use the V layers unless there might be like a setback or something like that. So put that on that layer. This and this looks like land lots, so I'm going to go ahead and move them over to the land lot layer, which is right there, property land lot. These I'm going to select, we like everything, our main property to be blue. I'm going to use the filter command, and I'm going to pick the color is not equal by layer. And so I'm going to get these other ones, and then I'm going to change that to white. I'm going to run the command ZX again to get back to where we were. Another point that we should do is we can change all of this to color by layer and line type by layer. And then all of the text from properties we'll put on simplex, because we want existing stuff to be on simplex and then generally proposed stuff to be on Calibri. Exceptions to that would be road names and meets and bounds. We want those to be on Calibri because they're more important. So I just put everything on simplex. Then we could go back in and grab this road name and put that on Calibri. We'll use the ZX command, and you can see down here it can either turn off the selected or turn off rest. Right now it's on rest, so it's going to turn off the rest of the stuff other than the items that I click. And then I can run the command again and pick these two things, and then run the command again and pick that thing. And this looks a little weird. We'll check into that in a few minutes. VS annotation meets. We'll back up one. We want these guys to be on that layer as well. They're going to be, we're going to have to split these up somehow, so we'll wait on that just a minute. Run ZX again. These look like a bunch of benchmarks, so I'll highlight those. We'll grab those and put them on benchmark, which, there it is, benchmark. Middle button YA turns all the layers on. Here we have edge of pavement. So you just kind of pick and choose things at will. It doesn't matter too much which order you go in. Existing asphalt. striping. That's the demo striping. We want VS site stripe. Again, that's the layer with everything on it. Let's get these structures. Put them on VA site building. Concrete. VA site concrete. Now these are blocks, so you can see when I turn everything off, they're on a layer boundary symbol. When I isolate that layer, they turn off. That's because the inside of that block is on another layer that got turned off, and so it doesn't show. So I'm going to run this command blkize and pick that block, and that should take the contents of that block and put it on the 0 layer and color by block. And let's test that out by running this again, and it's still not showing up. So let's go in here and type edit to go into the block and see what the issue is. So there's the contents. It is on 0 layer and color by block. So that should have worked. Let's go back out again. Maybe we'll run regional. There it goes. And it looks like there's an attribute, text options, style. Put that on there. Oh, there we go. Layer. Let's put that on 0. And we might have to do that for each of these, unfortunately, to get it to show up the correct way. Plan lock. These property pins, we're going to put them on that meets layer as well. Improve creek, and put that on the channel water. We have channel top of bank, floodplain. And looks like this is most of what's left. I'm going to put these on the meets, the pins. Alright, that might be most of them. We can always fix some of them if we need to. Meets. These we'll put on the property information layer. Property info. Land lot. Creek. I thought I might have saw another creek. There's a creek. Some road names. Land lot. Point of beginning. Put that on meets. Building labels. I'm going to isolate this and the building so we can more easily see which ones are building labels. Water vault, VU water, fire hydrant. That would also go on that same layer. Cable is data or phone, utility data, guardrail. Put that under miscellaneous. You can always create any layer that you want, but to create a new layer for a couple objects is really quite a waste. There's more that you have to navigate through, so I'll put that on VA site miscellaneous. That axle looks like it's probably for a pin, so I'm going to grab those two guys and put them on meets. I was wondering what that up is, but I guess that's probably a power pole, maybe a utility pole. That's what that is, so I'll select all of these and grab those. Utility overhead. Middle button YA to make sure everything's turned on. Pipe. Storm pipe. Thought we saw some other storm pipe. Yeah, there's one. G, utility storm. What is this? Curb. So for us, curb goes on the concrete layer. Benchmark, guardrail, so I'm going to put those on that miscellaneous layer. This looks like probably mostly concrete stuff. Put that on concrete, fire hydrant on utility water, middle button Y to turn everything on. Looks like just a general description, which we don't need, it's off our property. I'm going to put that on VZ survey. VZ is not one of our standard layers, so this will not show up on any of our sheets, but the information is there just in case we need it, but at this point it's kind of irrelevant because it's off the property. So I'll put that on that layer. There's a fence. We'll put those fences on miscellaneous layer. There was a wall in there, but that's more for retaining walls. And looks like we're getting pretty close. I'll run the command purge_end, which will get rid of all the layers we're not using. And you can see all of our proposed layers disappeared. We do have some of these other layers left, and it could be that I've missed some items, some objects that need to be taken off those layers, or it could be that these are just styles that are in the settings from the surveyor. And if they are in the drawing from the surveyor settings, that's a good reason not to drag and drop that drawing file, the surveyor's drawing file, into our drawing file, because it will load all of these settings into our drawing, and we don't want to have their layers polluting our drawing. So once we get everything converted, we'll grab just these objects, which will all be on our layers, and then copy them and paste them into our drawing. That way we're only getting the objects or the layers that we want. So a lot of times what I do is I'll put some lines down here, and then I'll put them on each of the surveyor's layers like this, and then I can isolate those to see if I've missed objects in there. And then usually I have missed some stuff in there. There's nothing else there. ZX and enter without picking anything just backs up one step. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Oh, we've got a couple things. An arrowhead and that. C note. I'm going to put that on the VZ. And then, was that the arrowhead? No, this was it right there. Which this is a good point to show you that this is not connected. We have this neat command called T2ML, which stands for text to multileader. We pick the text that we want, right click, show you where you want the arrowhead, and then show where you want the text. And it puts in a multileader. Now you can see that this does not look the way that we want, and it's too small. So I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to delete it. I need to set my LT scale for the drawing size. I think this is probably going to be a 50 scale drawing, so I'll do LT scale, set that to 50, and then I'll run the command civ MLS for civil multi-leader style. Run that, it'll set it up based on the LT scale, and then I'll run T2ML again. Pick that text, right click, and bam, there's our text. Put that back on the layer that we want, and then I'll get rid of that extra stuff that we don't need. So you can run that command to basically convert all of these things to multi-leader. Those are just, were not smart objects in that survey. T2ML. Quite a few benchmarks in this drawing. Most drawings don't have this many benchmarks. CG to match properties. CG. I probably forgot to delete that arrowhead over here. Yep, there it is. CG. Okay, so we don't need those layers. They didn't delete when we ran purgein, so we're going to use a command called lay delete. Lay del, and then you hit N for name, and then it'll pull up the list. And I think it was these that I checked, and I'll just force them to be deleted. If you accidentally have objects on those layers, you'll lose those objects. So it's not something you want to do without double checking and making sure that you have everything. We'll check these now. Setbacks, symbols. Good with that one. Good with that one. Good with that one. Got a couple little things here. I'm going to just draw some lines to these so that when we get back to everything I can see what they were. Okay, so that's a little, looks like a creek label. I'm going to put that on that creek. Here is one. Don't know what that is. Oh, this says creek. CG. Put that on the creek label. Oh, that was the property line, but it looks like that's also a creek. And then there's another one down here. CG. We'll put that on the creek. Could have also been this is the reason that it didn't convert. So I'll run purgein again. We just don't need the surveyor's title block in our drawing. We can leave that in his drawing. And now I'll do lay del again, and for name I'll delete those first 6. Do a little more checking. 2, 3, is that it? Looks like it. Yep, a couple things there. Middle button Y to turn everything back on. Looks like sidewalks. So I'm going to put them on the concrete layer. And then That was also a sidewalk, so we'll put that on the concrete layer. Get rid of those lines that we drew. We've got a handful of utilities. This doesn't look the way we want, so we'll run the command blkiz on that as well. Pick that one, and then we'll put it on that overhead layer. Middle button YA. Let's look at that. Yeah, now it shows up the way we generally like things to show up. blkize. Utility water, fire hydrant, blkize. Cable vault, so that is going to be on that layer. I use CG to match. Cable box, CG to match. Fire hydrant, CG to match. And water meter, I'm going to put this, we're going to use T2ml on this as well. T2ml. Now, this is existing, so we want to use simplex. So I'm going to run civ mls again. And you see we have two styles, existing and proposed. This is existing, so I'll pick the 0.08EX, and you can see that looks like simplex. And that's one of the ways we make our drawings clean, is by showing existing information different than proposed information. It just makes them inherently easier to read. And then these two things are going to go on that layer. And maybe we'll put an enter behind that. Okay. I think I've found everything on that layer. Let's double check. Nothing there, nothing there, and nothing there. Let's run purge end again and just see if they disappear. Two of them, or one of them did, now there's still two left, so I'll run laydel again. N for name, get rid of those, we verify there's nothing on the layers. And it's just our layers that are left. So this survey convert is done. Middle button YA. Always purge end, audit, fix everything. Anytime your drawing's acting funny, always audit, fix, purge end, audit, fix, save. And then we can grab these objects, Control Shift C with base point 0, 0. And it failed. Don't know why that happened. We'll have to look into that. We might need to shut down and reopen again, but we'll go back and paste this into our project drawing file. Let's try one more time. It did not work, so we'll cover that under another video. Thank you.